The airplane was flying high in the sky at an altitude of 10,000 meters. Suddenly, the front windshield in front of the co-pilot cracked for no reason. The pilot touched the glass carefully and then quickly contacted the control center on the ground. The situation was very dangerous, so he decided to make an emergency landing at the nearest airport. Just as he finished speaking, the glass shattered completely, and the co-pilot was sucked out of the window by the strong wind. The pieces of the broken windshield got into the airplane's engine, causing the plane to lose almost half of its power. Because of the wind, half of the co-pilot's body was hanging outside the window. The cold wind at 38 degrees below zero felt like knives cutting into his skin. The pilot grabbed the co-pilot's clothes with all his strength to keep him from being blown away. At that moment, the crew realized something was wrong. Another co-pilot was knocking on the cockpit door anxiously, but nobody answered. The pilot tried to change the flight direction so the co-pilot could get back into the cockpit, but the air pressure was too low during the flight, and the cockpit door was blown open by the strong wind. The powerful wind rushed into the passenger cabin, and the flight attendants were blown away instantly. The passengers were terrified. The oxygen masks on the plane dropped automatically. The flight attendants, who had professional training, stayed calm and began to comfort all the passengers right away, telling them to put on their oxygen masks as quickly as possible. The control center kept calling, and even other planes in the air were helping to call out, but the pilot didn't get any response. Because the plane kept going down and was hard to control, if the pilot didn't raise the altitude in time, the plane would soon crash into the mountains and be destroyed. The passengers were in great panic at that time. It took several rounds of comfort from the flight attendants to calm them down. Fortunately, the pilot seized the right moment and successfully climbed to a higher altitude, avoiding the snow-covered mountains. At the same time, because of inertia, he managed to pull the co-pilot back in. The other co-pilot crawled toward the cockpit with all his might. He knew very well that the pilot was in a very difficult situation. If they couldn't put on oxygen masks in time, they wouldn't last long in the freezing cold. Finally, with everyone working together, the co-pilot squeezed into the cockpit. He immediately closed the door and helped the pilot and the other co-pilot put on their oxygen masks. The cold wind had already frozen them, turning their faces blue. Then the co-pilot pressed the emergency button. After receiving the signal, the control center quickly started emergency procedures. They told all the planes that had taken off to clear the way and all the planes that hadn't taken off to stop their flights. To ensure the safety of the accident plane, all the airports in the entire city were cleared to make room for the emergency landing of the accident plane. Fire departments and medical teams were also called in.